unicorns are real. And Unicorn Hunters is back bigger and bolder.
Can investors make money on them?
We research and identify potential unicorns.
That was the most inspiring pitch I've heard yet on the show.
You hear the pitches?
I can see the future through artificial intelligence.
Then our Unicorn Hunters will stress test them.
You mentioned that farmers are not trustful. Investors, they're probably even less trustful.
Oh,
You can predict the future. All I want to know is in 5 years, do I have hair and am I skinny?
You are thinking big, you are thinking differently, you dare to be disruptive, and I commend you for that.
She's that brilliant. I think she could be the next Elon Musk.
It's so crazy, it might just work.
Well, something's still wrong about the math here. How are you going to get to $20 million?
When the former United States Treasurer tells you have a math problem,
I think the mission is powerful. I'm not worried that he can't do it. I'm worried that he came here too soon.
As a former president of Costa Rica, I know you also are about profiting, but we cannot ignore the social impact.
So what do you do if this does not work?
One thing I am is stubborn. I don't just give up.
Impress our experts and it's a game changer.
I believe in you, so I'm a yes.
Yes, yes, and yes.
With revolutionary companies.
what if you had a solution that enabled you to see where your next risk is likely to materialize?
The way that we treat pain, it's just outdated.
We've only got 5 years to save the planet. What are we going to do?
I'm going to give happiness a run for the money so you can realize your best self and a better world.
Cross-examinations by celebrity guests.
I think this company could be a real knockout. We have to see.
Everyday world investors join the hunt, live in the audience.
Should we be afraid of your AI?
And the opportunity to get additional funding of up to 10 million unicorns. The official equity-backed cryptocurrency of Unicorn Hunters. Time to meet the next Elon Musk. Join the hunt for the next unicorn.
Unicorn Hunters is an amazing opportunity. There really is no other place in the world that has this type of circle of investors together in one room.
Are you nervous at all?
No, honestly.
We're looking to really scale this business around the globe. And so having global insight, that's super important for us. And this is a very experienced group of international individuals that have experience all over the world.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to pitching to Mo specifically. Mo has a lot of experience in the areas that are absolutely critical to the future, and they're the types of things that we focus on at Measured Risk.
You're going to go out there, hit that triangle? Okay.
Perfect. All right, ready?
Tom Albert is a gifted entrepreneur and cybersecurity genius. The boy who mastered the art of discipline through wrestling at 10 years old grew into the man who orchestrated the sale of a company at 32 for $500 million. He started his professional life in sales, but a natural talent for coding led him to Cisco, where he was recruited to lead their U.S. Federal Civilian Advanced Technology Cybersecurity Group. He served as an intermediary between the government and Silicon Valley. He contributed to the game-changing 3-factor authentication flash drive, and he's ranked as the highest performer ever on Cisco's emotional intelligence test.
Right now I'm looking at the 5G innovator space, the semiconductor space, which, as you know, is a pretty big deal right now.
It's up to the circle of money to decide if a business analyzing risk is itself a risky business.
And 3, 2.
Hello, Unicorn Hunters. My name is Tom Albert, and I can see the future. Through my company's artificial intelligence, that is. I'm the founder of the revolutionary predictive intelligence company, Measured Risk. Take a look at the world today. Shortages are everywhere. Automobiles are taking years to be delivered. Grocery shelves are bare. Baby formula is hard to come by. Everything is delayed and unpredictable. These are the type of problems that Measured Risk solves. We help leaders on the cutting edge foresee impending risk prior to negative impact. Measured Risk built a platform named Black Swan based on the concept of existential risk creeping in when nobody could see it coming or where it's coming specifically from. We help leaders foresee this risk through using supercomputers and PhD-grade artificial intelligence to provide foresight for organizations to avoid impending doom. Our insights are offered through API, reporting, and dashboards, but most importantly, they're available today. When you look to the future, every innovation, every evolution will require greater intelligence, greater predictability, and greater safety. Measured Risk is here to change the world for the better. We're raising $10 million to do so. The future is now. Thank you.
Coming up, it's grilling time.
I'll invest in you if you see me skinny in 5 years.
Can Tom tell what's in his future?
Can you save us some time and tell us how we're going to vote?
Can we create a more predictable future? And the answer to that is...
That bothers me at the pit of my stomach.
Unicorn, the cryptocurrency of the future. To learn how to invest, go to unicorn.com.
Thanks, Tom. So you can see the future.
Yes.
But as a student of Stoic philosophy, I look to the past. And what's interesting is that it seems that your AI is incorporating an ancient Stoic exercise, premeditatio malorum, which basically anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And what you're saying is, yeah, but we're going to get really specific about what can go wrong and when it can go wrong, and how about you don't have to step in that pothole? Yeah, is that basically what you're saying?
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
And I'll take that further. We're looking at a multitude of different sources of data coming together at once, but we're using fusion and intelligence to do anticipatory intelligence ahead of it. So in order to be able to predict something, you have to invariably first be able to detect it.
Are you feeling a little Minority Report here?
I've been asked that for years. I have been asked whether I'm living in the Matrix, I am the Matrix, or I am
Why
Minority
didn't I
Report.
take the blue pill? Yeah.
I've been told to take the red pill and I went down. Great question. Yep.
I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about philosophy. You can predict the future. All I want to know is in 5 years, do I have hair and am I skinny? I mean, I'll invest in you if you see me skinny in 5 years. Now, on a serious note.
Yes.
There are a lot of people right now in this country struggling with a baby formula shortage. It is literally costing the lives of babies. That bothers me at the pit of my stomach. Could you have prevented that?
Certainly we could have been additive in the value of that, because when you think about logistics and supply chain, for instance, to go beyond just raw materials and things of that nature, in order to extract raw materials, you need machines and logistics and companies behind it. So in order to ensure that that baby formula gets on the shelf, there are many steps in between all along the way. Measured Risk focuses on those many steps, certainly. So can we create a more predictable future? You're absolutely right, we can. Yes.
So obviously the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the world in ways no one could have ever predicted, especially the supply chain.
Yes.
So as a futurist, is this our new normal today?
I would say, yeah, we've got our hands full as it relates to the supply chain for the future. We need to get to a place where we have more visibility and more predictability into our processes. The elasticity of our supply chain around the supply and demand networks needs to be more fluid. So in order to do that, you have to use artificial intelligence. With the geopolitical risks dynamics shifting, that means that we need to understand the dependency risk of, for instance, this particular segment or sector, the market leaders in that sector, and then how that impacts delivery directly to the customer. Where artificial intelligence is going to come in is to be able to anticipate those different aspects of risk and the different forces all at once.
Do you think your technology will ultimately bring down the cost of goods with competitive pricing?
It certainly should. Because if you think about the factoring of the cost of goods, you're factoring in the possibilities of missteps, of losses, and all those aspects. The more predictable you can create a supply chain, the more you can increment the margins and make them skinnier ultimately, right?
Or does it give you options? Be like, oh, here, this week, these 5 things are cheaper than what you usually buy. Could you go and pick that?
Let me give you an example of how we use our platform. So I actually ran the platform before I came out to the show on Unicorn Hunters. That's the reality of it. That's how easy it is to use. It took me 3 minutes to be able to achieve that.
I have a question. The list of our suppliers is not the public information. How did you obtain it?
We didn't go after the suppliers. We just ran it on your company, yeah.
Then on what factors did you run your risk assessment for our company?
We use a multitude of different kind of what I consider bespoke risk factors to look to see whether your company has long-range viability out to 15 years, specifically is the number. And I can tell you that the answer is yes, so you're gonna be happy with that, Alex.
It's nice to hear, but you're claiming that you cracked the code all venture capitalists are looking for. They all want to look at a company and know where it's going to be in 15 years. And if you indeed have such a capability, why instead of charging for your software, you wouldn't play stock market on a grand scale and make billions of dollars?
So we've done analyses, for instance, on portfolios of hedge funds. And we've noticed in those portfolios that investments have been made when our algorithms and models would have recommended otherwise. So certainly we've been asked, Tom, are you gonna take this to Wall Street? And the answer to that is, yeah, we're open for business.
Can you save us some time and tell us how we're going to vote?
In that same vein,
yes,
you're replacing the role of an actuary. You could. So the insurance industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Are you suggesting that you can play the role of the actuary?
I would agree with you 1,000%.
But have you broken into that market segment?
That is a market where we are working specifically at doing so, yes.
Who is your competition right now?
We don't have competition in certain areas of what we do. In other words, certain models we have, nobody in the world is doing. And now, are they doing things maybe differently? Sure. But the point is we have genuine intellectual property. We have a patent. We plan to file at least 2 to 3 more very shortly. Our closest competitors, we've really only found 2 in the whole world, ultimately.
Would you think you would ever acquire that just to get them out of the way? Is that part of your plan?
I mean, I have a very acquisitive mind, yeah.
If you didn't know before this, Lance Bass is not just a boy band phenom. He owns some very successful businesses.
Wow.
So what precludes a company like Cisco, huge player in the space with thousands of clients, distribution, know-how, and resources to replicate what you have created and take it to market faster than what you can take it to market?
I mean, if you look at where we are today, there's several years of intellectual property development that have had to happen. So it's almost like, would they be able to achieve the same thing, any company, not just Cisco, but any company, would they be able to achieve the same thing with the same intellectual property ideas, those types of things? We haven't seen it happen yet. And so that makes us, to a larger organization, much more attractive as an acquisitive target than something where they would build it themselves.
Okay, so your exit strategy is an acquisition or taking the company public?
Well, I'd say that we have optionality as a business. I mean, we certainly can do either. My trajectory or perspective is that measured risk is very likely and very close to becoming the kind of company that can in the future have a multi-billion-dollar valuation. So you're looking at the future, right? And you're looking at this capital markets.
Absolutely, but you run a company that you say can see the future. So when do you see yourself exiting?
I think that the possibility of measured risk could exit probably in the next 6 weeks if we chose to. But the reality of it is that I plan to grow this business to be worth multiple billions of dollars, and that's over a 3 to 5 year time horizon.
Tom, I am concerned precisely about how affordable is the technology.
What I'd say to you is affordability. We're a data company, and there's a lot of profitability in a data company. Extremely high profit business.
Costa Rica has been one of the most successful countries in terms of its insertion in the global supply chain. Could you make a discount for those countries?
Definitively, yeah, let's make a deal. No doubt, yes.
We'll hire you.
Yes.
Contract done.
Coming up, the grilling continues, and Tom gets emotional.
Not everybody has our best intentions. It really struck me to a core.
Tom, it means something to me. Can you share why you're emotional?
Tom.
Yes.
We have viewers from all over the globe watching this show, and we are fortunate today to have a live audience with us. I'm sure they're anxious to ask you some questions, so who wants to be first?
Should we be afraid of your AI?
That's a great question. You should not be afraid of our AI. The way to think about our capabilities are in a subset, an interesting area called decision intelligence or decision support. So as you go through life, you're gonna find virtue in artificial intelligence helping you make decisions beforehand. So in other words, this artificial intelligence is saying, you might wanna look here. You don't have to, but you have the option of doing that. Our capability is supportive of the human condition. We're not trying to take over the answers for you. We're here to help and support the decisions that you make.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The fact that we're having an artificial intelligence company here, I think, is very exciting and a great opportunity. So 10 years ago, approximately, artificial intelligence received about $300 million of investment capital. 10 years later, it's at about $53 billion. Where do you think the industry will be in 10 years?
We definitely have to be focused on investment in this space. I would say that it's incumbent upon the United States and other countries that are looking at advancing globally the potential that we continue to make investments in this space.
Also national security issue.
Definitively national security.
Unequivocally. National security for every country in the world.
For every country in the world, this is fundamentally the most, in my mind, critical advancement and innovation investment that we can make as a society is in artificial intelligence because of what you just said, Mo, national security.
Tom, I was invited to be part of the security committee for the World Food Program. So we are expecting to have a food crisis of massive scale. Tell us, how was possible for them to finance these services? Because sometimes, I mean, the needs are there, but not necessarily the resources. I know that you also are about profiting from the technology, but we cannot ignore the social impact that this kind of technology has.
We want to be involved in helping, very much specifically, countries solve these problems. Around, for instance, the food shortage, there's infrastructure. There's an entire operational ecosystem that has to remain thriving and profitable and viable to many extents, right? And so measured risk has aspirations to internationally operate. We have specific interests in doing so. At this point, And this is the beauty of this program and this show, is that the world now can know about measured risk. We have the opportunity to help the world. We're now on a global stage thanks to unicorn hunters, and that's what we want to do. We want to be able to step in and help organizations around the world.
Tom, for doing artificial intelligence, you need a whole lot of data. So I wonder, what is the process for collecting data and how does it relate to GDPR, to privacy?
And oftentimes we're asked, are we in any way breaching these regulatory frameworks around the world with the way we collect data? And the answer to that is no. We have our own scraping infrastructure. We built our own data repository, and we're effectively using open source intelligence to gather strategic, critical insights.
Tom,
yes.
How in the world can your software predict timing and extent of events like the pandemic or a global recession?
We're using something called the Kaplan-Meier equation, which actually looks out over a time horizon. So there's a formulaic approach to looking at what's called hazard curves over time, those types of things. Just like, for instance, in the insurance industry, where we can see those types of trends through artificial intelligence. Now, that being said, the way this technology can be deployed, and this is probably the most salient and important point that I'm going to make today, you can take the entire supply chain of an overall government component, and you can stack rank that entire supply chain through our platform today. Take it down to a programmatic level. Let's say that you're gonna build a jet. You might use something like 5,000 suppliers. How are you gonna do that if you don't have visibility to whether those providers are going to exist or not? And so what you need is to mitigate the sole source, single source risk problem that exists in the world today. We dynamically facilitate that in our artificial intelligence using what's called lookalike models. And we apply concurrently the lookalike models of those similar entities risk ratings as well. So you think about it from a procurement perspective up front. If you're gonna build a jet, you're gonna wanna use our platform before you build the jet.
Tom, I am an entrepreneur and I cannot help, but I really need to understand how you make money.
Yes.
So can you please elaborate on that? What you have in
Yes.
pipeline, what you have to date?
Today, we have over $20 million in pipeline business. The nature of our business is potentially explosive. In other words, we could land $40 million contracts, $50 million contracts. We're in discussions with people and organizations right now that would enable that to come true very quickly. We have a letter of intent from a Fortune 100 organization specifically for our platform for anticipatory intelligence. We have a commitment from the CEO of an organization where our platform will, within the next several months, assuming everything goes as planned, be protecting the entire North American supply chain base.
Couldn't you predict if it goes as planned?
All right, Tom, I have a question
Yes.
that you probably never heard before.
Yes.
What would measured risk say about measure risk?
You know, you have to eat your own dog food, so I've looked at our models, first of all, pointed back at measured risk, and it says that we're gonna live for quite a long time. So that's the first thing. It also says that we're not hackable. We are certainly the kind of company that is disruptive and can change the entire world. When you think about all the dependency risk across embedded systems, IoT, every aspect of our future, measured risk has the potential to add value into that entire ecosystem for the future.
So predictive analytics.
Yes.
At the level that you are engaged in.
Yes.
Worry me, because they can also be used for evil and bad. How can you assure me that what you are doing cannot someday be used in a destructive, divisive manner?
That's been my background, is to look for those types of actors. We even work with some of the top PhDs in psychodynamic risk modeling. We look for risk not just at a global supply chain level. We have expertise in tradecraft in our organization to look for human risk. There are nefarious people in this world.
There are.
We know that. When I started my career in New York City, my territory at the time was Manhattan, and I ended up in the financial district working with a lot of clients in the Twin Towers. And what had happened at the time was 9/11, and it really struck me to a core. It told me that there are so many challenges in this world and not everybody has our best intentions at heart. And so at that moment forward, I decided that I was going to step out into the world and do everything I could to take my skill set to the market, create value, and help protect people. That's why I got into this business. Thank you.
So, Tom, I couldn't help but notice you're emotional.
Yes. When we look at our lives and we look at the things that we do for the future generations and what we're really focused on a daily basis, I've got little children, and I think about the world that they're moving into and the types of risks and the unpredictability and the general sense of the world. And I feel that there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead. And so what I want to do is pave a better road of prosperity for our younger generations. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. And I think that as a company, the ethos of measured risk has been for quite some time that we rise by lifting others.
Well said. We've got a lot to discuss. Give us a moment.
Certainly. I'm feeling really confident. I think we've got this. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. An investment today is extremely important and would be extraordinarily appreciated, not just for the capital itself, but for the intellect and the passion behind it from this panel.
Coming up, the panel decides if measured risk is a risk they're willing to take.
It's not a hope and a prayer. We're talking about people's money.
I don't know if I agree with you.
Next generation cryptocurrency designed to be equity-backed and dividend-paying. To solidify your investment, go to unicoin.com.
All right, he's gone, but that doesn't mean that he's not listening.
Can I just start by asking maybe all of you a question? Why Tom?
From the standpoint of supply chain and then the shortages within supply chain, he's come up with a definitive AI, an algorithmic way of being able to let companies know where there are going to be difficulties along the supply chain.
I'm with you on this. I really like this guy. I love the market opportunity. It is massive. Here's my concern. I'm not hearing a proven product or service. Did I miss something?
No, I mean, there was a skirting, but I do think that some of that has to do with how recent to market it is.
Yeah.
It took them a long time to get a patent issued, and they're just now sort of getting their footing with regard to actually getting this B2B.
You know, we've got the former president of Costa Rica here. Madam President, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is this something a government like Costa Rica would benefit from?
I think this is something really important. It can make a difference in the decision-making process because I participated very recently in a United Nations report on global risk. And basically the conclusion is that crisis won't be something exceptional, but the new normal. And the crisis will overlap, creating more insecure environments, globally speaking. So we will be eager of getting the right information. Risk analysis will be even more important in terms of policy decisions and well-informed decisions. The future about preventing big disruptions is here.
Yeah.
And I think President Chinchilla made a very important point. What I'm seeing here is a problem that is real, but I still don't see the solution on the street validated. I see a minimum viable product that hadn't received market validation. So the risk for a solution like this, for me, is still very high.
I mean, it's a good point, but one thing that excites me is the possibility that maybe this could help predict other problems.
Yeah.
Because supply chain, that is very important, and we all get that now, but what are these other problems that we're not seeing that this technology could predict for us?
Yeah, I want to go back to my question again. He's literally pre-revenue 2021. So What are we betting on here? What has he done, in anyone's opinion, that leads you to think?
Isn't that the entire premise of this show?
It's not a hope and a prayer. We're talking about people's money.
We all have to do a risk assessment when we're considering any investment, right? Everybody watching, everybody here, all of us. So to answer your question, in my opinion, I think it's, what are you betting on? You got to decide, does he have the potential to achieve the goal that he has stated? Does he have the product or the service? And is it capable of doing and producing what he says it can? That's how I do it, right? And so I just think we have to make our own assessment on what the risk is. Is it mitigated enough to make you comfortable?
And it shows you the type of investors out there. Like you're a numbers woman, right? So you want, show me the money.
A zero means zero to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, your name is on $1.8 trillion. So thank God that's what it means to you. I'm driven more by emotion, but I don't think I'm the only investor in the world driven by emotion.
I really don't think this is an emotional thing. I could totally be wrong, because I'm a neophyte here. But the product that he has is artificial intelligence that can detect risk within the supply chain, and not only that, but also how it can recommend other suppliers to help mitigate how this supply chain.
Can it really, Chris?
What's that?
Can it really?
But there is
my
a big
question,
difference between being a great inventor and building a great product and taking them to market. So as an entrepreneur, I see the path on how you build $1 billion company. So what are the steps by steps that you will take? What are your immediate goals? How are you going to get there? And I don't see a very clear path. When he tells me like, oh, my revenues can be from 20 million to 80 million, and I will exit like when the time is right. It's like, well, then your ability to predict the future doesn't impress me much. So
I think we share the same concern. Chris, as a famous actor, you know, in movie business, it's all about suspension of disbelief.
No offense, Chris.
The task of the presenter is to overcome disbelief. When somebody comes here and says, I can see the future, yes, I know he clarified later that he focuses on supply chain risks, but he started with creating enormous disbelief, and the presentation to investors who are going to be watching the show, in my opinion, should have been structured on overcoming that disbelief by referencing contracts won, endorsement achieved, clear plan to money.
Yeah, it was a lot of singing and dancing. You know, unless he could do something in his final pitch, fabulous. But from what I've seen, it's just not impressive.
Does anybody else have any questions? No? Well, let's bring Tom back then, I think. Time to bring him back.
And go.
Thanks for giving us a chance to chat. And now we're going to give you a chance, 60 seconds of a chance actually, to address any of our concerns or maybe something that you feel like you left off the table. This is your opportunity.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the panel today, and I appreciate the illuminating discussion. As it relates to how we're going to market and how we monetize this business, I can assure you that I come from a background of overachievement. I finished at number 2 in the world for Oracle, the largest software company in the world. I ran a $350 million business at 34 years old for Cisco Systems. I've consistently created predictable returns for shareholders over many, many, many years. In this particular instance, I'm not able to share every detail of our exit strategy, of how we're actually going to exit the company, those types of things. There's certain requirements in place that don't allow me to speak about those. But as it relates to routes to market, strategic insertion, I've driven technology inside of global supply chains where I've been able to take global routes to market, where I've been able to pivot an entire organization of 10,000 salespeople to sell our capabilities in the past as a person. So I'm confident that we can achieve that.
Coming up, The final verdict.
We are very concerned.
I would like to see more numbers.
Any new innovations are always going to have challenges.
What does the future hold for measured risk?
My vote is...
My answer
I
is
will have to say,
My spidey sense tells me.
And how many unicorns will Tom walk away with?
This is a problem I need solved. All right, Tom, thank you so much. You did an excellent job. And now it is on us to make a decision right now. Why don't we start with Chris over there?
I feel like there are answers to some of the questions that we have that you're prohibited from giving us the full understanding of. And I think that this is an important space and it's a rapidly growing space. My spidey sense tells me that you've figured out some of those answers, you've figured out the solutions, and I don't know, I buy it. For me, I'm voting yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited, thank you.
Tom, thanks so much for sharing what you are doing with your company. I think your pitch needs a lot of work. I think that we are bringing to the market is valuable, but it still remains to be seen how valuable it is. So I see a lot of lyrics, but I would like to see more numbers. So my answer is no.
Thank you.
Tom, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I know you want to leave a legacy for your kids, and an amazing one at that. We all have been hit with a supply chain disruption, something we never even spoke about years ago. As a restaurant owner, I mean, it hit me very hard during this pandemic. So this is a problem I need solved. I know you can't tell your secrets right now, so as an investor, there's no way I would be able to invest right now until I knew those top secrets, but I believe in you, and I need you to have some unicorns to get you to the next level, so I'm a yes.
You're yes?
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Wow. Wow, thank you, thank you.
Tom, I'm a big believer in artificial intelligence. I think any type of kind of new innovations and technologies are always going to have challenges, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I do think this is the future. I do think that what you're working on is definitely the future. I think you're a fabulous salesman.
Thank you.
But not today. I'm a no.
Thank you.
You know what? It's tied 2-2 right now. Golly, the pressure. You know, I happen to have lived this firsthand because I was the CFO to 2 vice presidents of the United States. I know a lot of these suppliers, and I know what could go wrong, but I really get the national security aspect of this. There was a very wise investor that once taught me something. You don't want to be the one that said no to Steve Jobs. Based on that philosophy, I'm a yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mo.
Today I had an opportunity to address millions of people around the world. And you may receive many investments from people who really understand your field. But what we are voting here for is an award for an exceptional investment opportunity. And I define it as an investment opportunity which is actually no-brainer. It's the one where everybody around this table with no hesitation say, I want to invest personally. You are not at this stage. You are an opportunity which is for professionals in your field or people who really dig statistics, text, predictability, etc. But as far as voting for the prize for exceptional investment opportunity, I cannot say yes. I will have to say no.
Yeah, thank you.
An interesting decision because now we have 3 and 3.
Yes.
I come from the political side. And also, I have been deeply involved in the international arena. And we are very concerned about what is happening in the world right now. Supply chains is about connecting businesses. It's about connecting people all around the world. And I'm convinced that we need a more connected world, a more integrated world, a more united world. So that is why that we have here a great opportunity, a great tool to support this utopian world that many of us want to have. So my vote is yes.
Well, thank you.
Well, Tom, that means it's 4 yeses and 3 nos. So you, my friend, have 500,000 unicorns.
500,000 unicorns.
Congratulations.
Just to get 4 of the 7 on board is a huge win for us.
So my vote is yes.
To have a president of an entire country invest in measured risk is mind-blowing. Thank you, thank you. I had the vision that I wanted to change the world for the better, but it's only really days like today where it becomes reality. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Very nice to meet you.
You get what you give in this life, and in many respects, the ability to provide value for others is ultimately at the center of what we're trying to do with measured risk.